Mina the Hollower is delightfully old school, and sure, I mean that with regards to how it looks thanks to its Game Boy Color inspired aesthetic, but I also mean that in how it relays information to the player. There's very little in the way of explicit tutorials, so if you're not connecting the dots yourself, you could very well find yourself lost with regards to its many mechanics and systems early on. To help avoid that scenario, here are 12 things Mina the Hollower doesn't tell you. First off, let's go over all the elements of the HUD, because this definitely took me a little bit to understand all the information that was being presented. Let's get the obvious out of the way first. This is your health bar. The red health is your current health, and when it depletes, you die. Simple enough. The big unique thing about Mina's health though is that as you land hits and collect flower pickups, you'll see a yellow health bar start filling up as well. This is known as plasma, and it's showing you how much health you'll be able to restore by using a vial. This system incentivizes you to score hits on enemies before you try to heal so you can restore more of your health. Using a vial also takes some time, and if you're hit during the animation, the healing will be cancelled. So pretty much every aspect of healing is risky in this game. The little blue bubble here shows whether or not you have a spark, which we'll cover in just a little bit when we talk about what happens when you die. The 3 squares on the left corner cover your equipped weapon, sub-weapon, and how many vials you have in stock. You can see here how many charges you have of both your sub-weapon and your vials, with sub-weapons being restored by finding these blue bottles, and vials by finding these much more rare pickups. On the right, you'll see your current amount of bones, which is the game's currency, how many keys, called gears, you have, and how many bones are required to level up. You probably figured out that these glowing spots on the ground are checkpoints that serve as a respawn when you die. But what you might not know until you die without a spark is that they also mark the spot of your underlab, which is kind of like Mina's home base that you can upgrade and customize as the game progresses. More than that though, when you drop into an underlab, the water here will heal you completely, the device on the bottom right will restore all of your vials, and the machine in the top right will allow you to convert bone stones to bones, which we'll talk about next. There are 2 types of currencies in Mina the Hollower. Bones, the main currency that you gain from defeating enemies and can find most commonly in the world, and bone stones, which are yellow gems that are most commonly found in treasure chests. Basically, you can think of bones as cash that you have in your wallet, and bone stones as money in a savings account. When you die, you will drop a spark near the spot where you fell, but you'll still maintain all the bones that you had as long as you don't die again without a spark. You can reclaim your spark by touching it or by killing the nearby enemy that absorbed it when you died. Bone stones, on the other hand, are safe from death, and can be pulled from whenever you're purchasing items at a vendor. You can actually tell whether or not you can afford an item with just your bones and your bone stones together, or whether you can't afford them at all just by looking at the color of the price of an item in the shop. The one thing that bone stones cannot be used for normally is level ups. However, if you visit your underlab, the machine in the top right corner will allow you to convert bone stones into bones, allowing you to get just the right amount to be able to level up. When you get enough bones to level up, you can choose to increase either your attack, defense, or the power of your sidearms. The cost of each upgrade will increase with every point you place into the individual category. And if you decide that you want to save up and add a point to a category you can't afford at the moment, you can choose to convert your bones into bone stones and not have to worry about losing them when you die. Be careful when you've got a lot of bones. They're very valuable, and this game can very often get unexpectedly difficult very quickly. So if you're sitting on a lot of bones and you feel like you'd regret it if you lost them, consider stopping what you're currently doing, head back to town, and start spending them. Sidearms are temporary weapons that Mina can use with the press of a button that generally give Mina a unique way to deal with enemies and obstacles, or provide some other form of utility. I'm not going to go over every single sidearm because there are a lot of them, but I do want to cover just a couple of nuances about them. For one, they require a resource called jewels. Jewels can be collected by finding these blue bottles all over the place. For two, while you can generally find sidearms by breaking blocks and candles, their locations are actually static. So as an example, you can always expect to find an umbrella at this spot in the graveyard. This is important to know because sidearms are actually used to cross gaps, solve puzzles, and reach secret areas that you normally wouldn't be able to with your standard gear. so even if you die and lose your sidearm, if you remember where you found it, you should be able to pick it right back up on the run back. Additionally, once you unlock the Hollower's Guild and rescue Reen, you'll be able to purchase an upgrade for the Underlab that holds on to the most recent sidearm you were holding onto when you died, so you don't have to lose it upon death. When you first begin Mina the Hollower, you're given a choice between 3 weapons. Nightstar, a mace attached to a chain with good range, the Blast Strike Maul, a powerful hammer that's slow but can be charged up for big AoE damage, and Whisper and Vesper, 2 daggers that allow for rapid strikes. You're locked into this choice once you finish the prologue, but if you're deep into the game and feeling regret, you can purchase any of the other 2 and more by going to Legovich's Arms in the starting town of Osix. Weapons start expensive at 2,000 bones each and get more so with each new one you buy, but they can still be worth the cost since certain weapons are better than others in specific combat encounters. You could also purchase the same weapon again, which will upgrade it by granting it a new move. For example, upgrading the Blast Strike Maul will allow you to charge it another level and execute a highly damaging explosive attack. There's nuance to each of these weapons as well. Jumping forward while attacking with the Nightstar will let you extend its range significantly. Charging with the Blast Strike Maul and moving in a direction will allow you to roll with some invulnerability frames to get out of the way of an attack to deliver one of your own. And when you jump and attack with the daggers, you're locked in a direction after the first attack, allowing you to attack the same target twice while still holding left or right to move while in the air. One very important mechanic that never goes explained is the fact that you can actually burrow immediately after taking damage. Normally, in order to burrow, you have to jump first, which makes avoiding certain attacks tricky because you need to be preemptive. But if you've already taken the hit and you just need to get out of there quickly, you can hold the jump button while you're still flashing from the hit and immediately go underground to retreat. Speaking of jumping, make sure that you have a handle on how far Mina can actually jump. If she's just walking and pressing the jump button, she can comfortably jump over a 1 square gap. 2 square gaps can be cleared with a burrow jump, but anything beyond that, and you'll need either a trinket or a sub-weapon to help you out. You should also keep this in mind as a way to skip certain hazards and obstacles. Instead of making the obvious 1 square jump, try burrowing and make the less obvious, slightly more difficult 2 square jump to save time and potentially avoid a fight with an enemy. Mina doesn't have to rely purely on the strength of her weapons. She can interact with the environment in interesting ways as well to help get an advantage over foes. By burrowing and coming out under things like rocks and vases, she can carry them and even throw them at enemies to deal big damage. Not only that, but the very act of burrowing essentially allows her to break line of sight against most foes. So if you're dealing with enemies that have a shield that guard their front, try getting their attention, burrowing as soon as they start moving towards you, and go right under them to pop up at their backside, giving you free attacks where they're vulnerable. The town of Osix is enormous, and can be a bit overwhelming when you first complete the prologue and you're left without a clear guide of where to go. So let's cover some of the most important points of interest that you'll be coming back to often. From the main town gate, the building just to the right is the Hollower's Guild. You can reach it by following the house around to the right side, breaking this crate, and then hopping over the obstacles until you reach the front door. There's not much here when you first begin, but as you continue through the game and complete certain side quests, you'll unlock new NPCs that will appear here and will grant you some upgrades for the Underlab. Straight ahead from the main gate is basically the shopping district. The first store to your right is the Emporium, which has a variety of permanent upgrades from health expansions, vial capacity upgrades, jewel expansions to allow you to use more sidearms, and trinket bags to equip more trinkets. To the right of that is the Cure Institute, where you can buy keys, great for when you're out of keys, and spot a locked door that you want to check out. And all the way to the left is the aforementioned Legovich's Arms, where you can purchase new weapons or upgrade the ones that you already have. Scattered all around the town are newspaper stands where you can read the latest issue of the Tenebrous Times to check on some game stats, as well as get an idea of where you should go next by looking at the front page story. You'll see a handful of these buildings that have black circles above their doors. These are spark doors, and you'll need to give up the number of sparks shown on the door in order to open them. Starting off, you'll only have 1 spark, but as the game progresses, you'll be able to get more, which will not only help you open these buildings, but also basically give you multiple chances to recover your bones, since you only lose them all if you die without a spark. Apart from that, make sure you're talking with every NPC, except maybe this one if you don't like getting randomly jump scared all the time, burrowing through suspicious looking holes, breaking everything that's breakable, and striking anything that looks unusual. If you're finding that Mina the Hollower is too hard, too easy, Or if you just want to play with some of the visual elements, there are an insane number of in-game modifiers to customize the game to how you want to play it. Sick of the run back from the nearest checkpoint to the boss? Turn on the boss checkpoints modifier to put an underlab right next to the boss room. Frustrated by how long it takes to heal? There's a mod for that. Just turn on quick heal. On the other side of that, you can make the game harder by reducing the invulnerability time after getting hit, increasing the amount of damage taken. Heck, you can even make it so that in addition to losing all of your bones when you die, you also lose a level in each of your stats. Finally, if there's ever any element of the game that you don't understand, or that this video wasn't clear enough in describing, there's an excellent in-game manual that you can reach from the options menu that covers just about everything I talk about in this video and more, just like the old days of instruction manuals. Oh yeah, one more thing. Don't stay in the dark. Get out of the dark as quick as you can, because you don't want to stay in the dark. Just trust me on that. And those are 12 things that Mina the Hollower doesn't tell you. Thanks for watching, and for more Mina the Hollower, make sure to check out our ever-growing wiki. And for everything else, keep it here on IGN.